Hi, in this video we shall talk about the menstrual cycle. The menstrual cycle is a 28-day female reproductive cycle which is initiated and maintained by hormones. It involves significant alterations in the follicular and endometrial structure. The follicles develop in the ovary during the ovarian cycle. The endometrium is the inner lining of the uterus that undergoes growth and shedding under the influence of hormones. The menstrual cycle usually begins in young females of about 12 years of age, and this is called menarche. The cycle usually ends in older women of about 45 years of age, and this is called menopause. The monthly menstrual cycle is characterized by periods of endometrial breakdown and discharge, popularly known as menstruation. During each cycle, the progressive changes that occur in the ovary and uterus serve to develop and release the female germ cell or the ovum for possible fertilization by the male germ cell and to prepare the endometrium for implantation of the fertilized ovum. Menstruation or the bleeding period usually constitutes the first 4 or 5 days of the cycle, with loss of endometrial tissue and attendant bleeding. Endometrial growth on average begins on about the 5th day of the menstrual cycle. This growth is precipitated by hormones from the ovarian follicles, which are regulated by hormones from the anterior pituitary gland. These are the follicle stimulating hormone or the FSH and the luteinizing hormone or the LH. During the last few days of the previous cycle and the first several days of the next cycle, these hormones, that is the FSH and LH, together with the estrogen, drive uterine development and stimulate follicular development. Follicular development starts to produce estrogen on about the 7th day. So we can see the increase in estrogen levels as well as its influence on the endometrial growth. On about the 14th day, the spike in the luteinizing hormone levels in the blood in conjunction with the rising titers of follicle stimulating hormone and estrogen brings on ovulation. This leads to rupture of the mature ovarian follicle or the Graafian follicle and the release of immature ovum into the fimbria of the uterine tube. Following ovulation, the ruptured follicle undergoes significant reconstruction to form the corpus luteum. This is influenced by luteinizing hormone. On about the 21st day, the corpus luteum secretes progesterone and estrogen to enhance the endometrial gland development. The fibrous stroma soon becomes edematous with secretions, meaning that it becomes filled with secretions from the pits of the endometrial glands. Spiral arteries are physically forced to take tortuous turns around the many proliferating glands. If fertilization occurs on or about the 16th day, the corpus luteum becomes the principal source of hormones for the next 90 days. In the absence of fertilization, the corpus luteum begins to involute and degenerate to form a corpus albicans around the 26th day, and estrogen with progesterone levels drop. In the absence of hormonal stimulation, the endometrium experiences reduced glandular secretions while the fluid absorption by the local veins continues unabated. In a short time, the tissues collapse like a delicate cake. The spiral arteries are flexed by these events and they then rupture and hemorrhage with considerable hydraulic force, thereby disrupting the epithelial lining, the glands, and the fibrous tissues. With the exception of its stratum basale, the structural integrity of the endometrium is essentially destroyed. Reflex vasoconstriction limits hemorrhage. Disrupted tissue made up of menstruum, glandular tissue, and secretions, together with blood and one or more unfertilized ova, gravitate toward the vagina. After 3 to 5 days of menstruation, only about 1 millimeter in height of the endometrium remains for regeneration. Within the next 2 weeks, it will regenerate 500% to a height of about 5 millimeters. Thanks for watching. Do check out the links to other videos on the female reproductive system in the description below. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. More videos coming up. See you in the next one.